Hello, Consters. How are we? Great to see you. Thank you. Forgot to mention Demon Knight.
I mentioned it when I talked about the little
the heck?
requests. So no, we can't forget Demon Knight. My goodness.
My goodness.
Although that is one that I loan out to some youngins when they say like, do you have anything like horror or whatever for my collection, and I throw that at them.
That's
and
the one.
And they come back.
And thank you for the camera moratorium. What I find when we do these, it's like be here now. It makes this completely special, in a way. You know what I mean? We're not living through a lens. We're in the room. So thank you for engaging in this moment and joining everyone in the now for a change. It's awesome. Thank you.
That was then. This is now.
This is
Welcome to
now.
today. That's what we do. But I always love doing this with a solo guest like yourself. So what's the origin story? What drew you to becoming a performer?
My parents. They were on stage when I was growing up in Chicago, as actors on stage there, and then their exposure to classic cinema and watching early MGM musicals and Bogart films and early horror, and just like loving the classics and Gene Kelly and Joie de Vie and early Bond movies, pre-Betamax, like before you could go, you can rent a film or buy a film. Used to go to these
Get a 16 millimeter
go
print.
watch Three Stooges, marathons with my dad at the movie theater and things like that. It was just they were big fans of the theater, of the stage, and of movies. And I always wanted to be a filmmaker. We had enough actors in the family, and I was like, I wanted to get behind the camera. But when I graduated high school at 18, was going to take a year off from what would have been film school and move to Hollywood. And I auditioned and got a job in Back to the Future in 2 weeks after being there, which was crazy. I was one of Biff's bullies, running around for 6 months and saying shit or get him or whatever it was. And then got to shoot it again with Michael J. after we did it once with Eric Stoltz, which was, you never get a do-over. That was a big budgeted do-over.
I always wondered about that. I'm glad you brought it up because I wasn't quite sure if you were there for the Stoltz era and stuff like that. So it was
awesome.
You're one of those
He
witnesses.
was wonderful. It's just a different take.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Spielberg said we had a Jimmy Stewart. He wanted a Bob Hope.
And that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. So, tell us about your art.
Sure.
Because you're very prolific on that, and you've got if you've gone to his website, it's got some wonderful stuff.
BillyZaneArt.com.
Yes.
Shameless plug. It's singular expression as an antidote to art by committee, which is what filmmaking is, really. So it was just a chance to just kind of continue the creativity and what I found to be the improvisation that informs so much of the acting. Beautiful accidents. You kind of just keep pushing through and something doesn't work and keep looking, just keep finding it. And I've always been a fan of, when I found this particular style, which is abstract expressionism, and they call it action painting, because it's very physical. I work on the ground, I'm usually large format, and I work outside, so I can paint kind of anywhere, but you need the sun to dry this stuff fast. And I started using found objects and recycled paint, and that became suddenly like an ecological upcycling narrative, but also improvisation. Like, you don't know what you're going to find. I don't bring art tools with me. I use house paint and I'm a dumpster diver. I'm a garbage man, basically, and sometimes an alchemist, because you can turn garbage to gold, and something that was about to be thrown away you suddenly sell for a ridiculous amount of money.
One man's trash, another man's treasure.
And my man. And I started painting on in this style on Titanic in Mexico. We had a lot of downtime, 7 months in Mexico, and converted a garage into a studio, and then would have painting parties, and the cast would come over. Just a cool thing to do. I highly recommend it. I've started a lot of non-artists, self-proclaimed non-artists, who call themselves that because they can't render an image. Don't worry about it. Abstraction. Just, it's like food preparation. Meat and 3 veg. It's just about balance on a plate. So have a painting party. It's kind of fun.
Oh, I agree. Oh, ooh, all right. We'll do that. We'll do that next year. We'll do it. We had an art program for a while, and we've been trying to revisit it. So.
Well, I was talking to Barry Boswick, who's a painter, and a couple other artists back there, and I said, you should do a gallery annex for all the guests who are artists as well.
I'm a friend of Barry, and I'm a great admirer of his clocks, and he does pottery.
He does wonderful pottery.
Say stuff. All right, let's we'll put that in the percolator. You mentioned Titanic, and if I don't mention it, they'll be irascible with me. So let's just do this. What was your takeaway from Titanic? Because for me, the standout was it was almost a classic film sneering villain. It was just that wonderful, just nice and charming, but the second anything not in your class emerges, it's the sort of thing to it. I think to me, that was just at that point when villainy and everything else in films are, but this be sympathetic. Let's have a background. It was just nice to see a classicist.
Well, to answer your question directly, what was my takeaway from Titanic? The answer is 2 deck chairs and some and a couple other props. But to get back into Cal, product of bad programming. He really kind of carried the age, the hubris of the age, and Cameron and I just loved what a tool he was, because it was like we would just laugh ourselves silly at his responses to things. The fact that he absolutely was convinced he'd get off the boat, like it was, sinking, schminking, whatever. Where's the chick? Like what's going on? And he, it was a flaw. The fact that he couldn't imagine a bohemian as a rival, as a potential suitor, like it just didn't exist in the narrative, and that comeuppance and that awakening was interesting to see that crack in him. So yeah, is he snidely whiplash? On a current, at times, but he genuinely loved her, couldn't understand why she was behaving this way, and apparently a lot of other people share that opinion, which is interesting. There's a lot of Team Calsters out there I met today. Just saying.
Ooh.
No, it's an age shift. It's like the world is divided into, it's when you're a kid, you go Team Jack, and then you get a little older, you go, he's not that bad. It's like, what's a little slap?
It's a lot of valid points.
It's got the diamond. It's like, on this side of the line, you got a few sheets of paper, air in my lungs. Okay, thanks, kid. And over here, you got first class cabin and diamond, and you're set for life. I don't know. You be the judge.
And then the 180 to that character, the Phantom.
Yes, sir.
Such a wonderful, pure hero.
It's my favorite character, actually.
Yeah, no. So we've talked about this before, but yeah. And again, that film still just holds up so tremendously well.
He was ahead of its time, I think, at a time when the anti-hero was really, dark as edgy and cool and contemporary was happening. It was by all means a throwback, and was trying to be as true to the comic as possible. But I was raised on white hat heroes and the moral compass and the kind of corniness of that was by nature of context rebellious, because conformity was dark and edgy. You want to be a fierce individual, like drink your milk and punch the bad guy and kiss the girl.
But it's sincere. That's what I love about it. It's not like it's not Adam West. Wait, nothing against that. Adam West
now.
Too. No. But
don't disparage Adam West.
No. I will not do that.
It's my hero.
I've got autographed pictures too, Patty, on the wall. That way too. But that was the tonal shift to it. I think some people thought of it as that, but when they watched it, it's like, oh no, this is straight up.
It's, I think folks who might have had a problem with it had a hard time kind of reconciling the inherent goodness in it in a weird way with themselves. Then again, I'll meet people who are like, this was my hero, this was like, the moral compass of this character, animal friends, cool man cave, girlfriend, well-adjusted hero. He liked the job. It wasn't a trauma drama or a heavy origin story. yes, his dad died. Everyone's dad dies. It's like, Jesus, get over it.
That's how the
and
fan-
that's the
that's
job. That's the handoff.
That's how the Phantom gets the job.
That's
The
like,
dad dies,
that's
and
right.
the eldest
Dad
son
dies,
takes the
you
job.
hand it off. It's the gig.
Yeah,
And
Patrick McGowan had to die. So
Of course. But he was a cool character and someone I really love. And we keep trying to hatch a sequel, but the regime change kind of slows things down in that process. One day you'll get a Phantom 2. We'll work on it. It'll come. It'll come.
We eagerly look forward to it. So before I jump on out there and take some of their awesome questions, on behalf of myself, as always, and the audience, thank you. Thank you for your talents. Thank you for your professionalism.
Thank you,
and
sir.
thank you for all the performances you've done throughout your
Aw.
career. You had a tremendous body of work. You brought so much excitement, joy, terror, and lots of smiles. And thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're very kind. Big round of applause for my intrepid and informed friend here. Thank you. What are you going to do? Throw things out?
No. Everybody who asks a question gets a piece of candy.
I have a question.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, there. I don't have a purple
Where do you
one,
buy your
so-
candy?
All right, like I said, I'll go ahead and take hands. All right, so I'll tell you. Actually, we got a fair amount. Let's do a line. Well, let me go ahead and do a line. That way we'll get a bunch quicker.
Did he say that?
What's that?
You kids play hard here.
You're right here, and then behind there. Yeah, there you go. All right, sounds good. Okay, hi.
Hi.
Hey, what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda, what would you like?
So I think one of the films that doesn't get talked about a lot with you is Tombstone. And I was wondering, what was it like being on set with such an amazing cast?
It was, thank you. It's a wonderful movie. Beautifully written and initially directed by the great Kevin Jarre, who wrote Glory, the first Mummy script, a bunch of other great movies. He really put that cast together and wrote roles for those people, and when he asked me to be in his Western, 'cause he was a friend, like most of the people he put in it to a degree, I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to ride hell for leather. I'm getting my cowboy on. So I turned up to Arizona, handed me a cod piece and tights. I was like, what the hell? It's like, no, you're the actor. I was like, the actor? Yeah, let's be the actor. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I got it. I'll do it. It was fun, and it was nice to differentiate in that amazing cast of actors. It's where I met Rooker, and Val, rest his soul, and everyone, just an incredible, and Bill, first time I worked with Paxton. And it was that script was idiot-proof. A gorilla could have directed that movie, honestly. And it was so good, and so, it was so knowledgeable of Western cinematic history, as much as the accurate West. But it really nodded to Western movies as much as it did to the West, and the actors all rose to the occasion. It was a great honor to work with all of them. But thank you for asking about
Great
that
question.
movie.
Thank you. You get 2 for going first. There you go. All right.
2 answers for one. I'll narrow it down. I'm choking on this, by the way, so be sure to chew it thoroughly. Whoever is asking a question before you pass out, chew. Did the water make it up here? Is that what that is?
Right in front of you.
Thank you.
There you go. What's your name?
I'm Isaac.
Hi, Isaac. What do you want to know?
Well, my family, we are very big into Kingdom Hearts, and you voiced the very first main antagonist, Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness. And while I have no complaints about Richard Epcar, who did the voice afterwards, was there any reason why you didn't come back to voice that character?
The tension is palpable. No. There wasn't. I have no idea. I wish they asked me. I don't know why. People seem to love that first edition of the game. I'm not really sure. I think they just like to change it up. Arguably the darkest material I think I've ever done in my entire canon, considering all the crazy, characters I played. That Disney dude was just that was deep. I was looking at the lines in the recording booth. I said, really? It's just, okay, okay. It was heavy. and I think people love it, and I'm honored by it. It's weird. It's kind of consistent with these kind of gifts that have been this high points of the resume. If you're gonna do a game, Ansem in the first Kingdom Hearts, I guess, is the one to do. But thank you.
I was speculating it's because it made money. But,
I'm sorry?
oh, I was speculating it was because they didn't want to pay you as much.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. There you go. All right, right on. Thank you.
Didn't pay me enough money.
Hi, what's your name?
Stefan. Dead Calm. So that's the movie where I first became really aware of you. I mean, that movie is just absolutely spellbinding, intense role. What did you do to prepare for that? And did Polanski's Knife in the Water come into play?
Oh, very good question. Yes, I believe it did. It was based on a book by a gentleman named, I think it was William Kennedy. And originally it was a film that Orson Welles had started to make, starring Lawrence Harvey, who died during the making of the film. And they never completed it. There's about 20 minutes of it. I've never seen it, and I know the director, Philip Noyce, the great Philip Noyce, had not. And then it came around again. Knife in the Water is a wonderful black and white movie that Roman Polanski had shot with, and we repeated a shot which was from the top of the mast down on the boat. There was, I think they did a nod to it. There's only so many places you can put a damn camera on a sailboat, but that was one of them. And so did Purple Moon influence it, I think, the Alain Delon film, which was one of the first Ripley movies, which was running on the Criterion Channel, if you really want to dig deep. It's a great film, Purple Moon. How did I prepare? I mean, this was a time when, like, I don't know, it was one of the more thoughtful preparation provisions by a production. How about that alliteration? That offered time with a psychologist and psychiatrist at a mental hospital in Sydney. We shot in Australia, and he was an artist as well. So anyway, not this guy. I'll go back to it, the character. So I had done interviews with them and talked about sociopathic behavior, and about whether this character was, fully baked when he arrived, or if he was broken as a result of trauma, which is what we leaned upon and decided. He wasn't, it was when the laws of nature took over the laws of man, and a lot of a big traumatic thing happened. He had a not really a split, but he had a serious episode that just wanted him to have a happy ending to his story and holiday that at all costs, even if it meant high seas piracy. And he warned these people not to go back to the boat, and if you're going to go, fine, I'm taking your boat and your lady, and I'm going to have this story is going to end well for me. And this was just this delusional, tragic kind of flaw. This is what we kind of mined into it, which was, you have to rationalize. You can't just play bad for bad's sake and just be an entertaining obstacle in a movie. You got to dig, and that's why I tend to play a lot of bad guys, because, I don't know, the psychology is interesting. Honestly, I'd rather be, tap dancing, get a pie in the face, and, wear a white hat and punch the bad guy. But sometimes these challenges are really interesting to me, and they really set the table to allow for interesting exploration into what the psychology of that was. So they provided a lot of it. And the other was just leaving me alone on the mainland of Australia. We filmed on an island for about 2 weeks to paint and hang out, and they kept me separate from Nicole Kidman and Sam Neill, the other co-stars of the film, until it was time to work together. They were just very thoughtful about, like, setting it up, and spent time with the cast on this crazy sinking ship. So we had, let us go out and party and sail and freak. It was cool. And that was a time when productions did that, and I haven't really experienced that in a long time, where there was such a gift of thoughtful pre-production at that scale.
You did an incredible job, and you brought some pathos to that character, which
Thank you,
would
brother.
not have been easy.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Great question. Yeah. Hi, what's your name?
Devin.
Is that the line over there?
Yeah.
That's why I was
right
taking so long. I thought he was the last one.
Well, we have
I was
the,
like, and then, Jesus, stretch. No one's in. I
we have
got
the
more
talk
questions.
we have the
I'm
talk text screen right here. We don't
like,
want
the
to block that.
catering was fabulous. I'll tell you.
What you got?
Sorry, y'all over there. I'll speed it up.
So
What do you got?
It wasn't planned, but I've got a friend who's also an actor, and we've talked several times about how easy some roles are easy to get into. Some roles it's really challenging to actually get the character. And this is, I guess, accidentally an extension of the previous question, which is most challenging character, and how did you overcome it?
Well, by nature, one would assume. So I recently played Marlon Brando, and in a film called Waltzing with Brando. It's coming out September 19th. I hope you like it. It's not a traditional biopic, a cradle-to-grave story. It's a 5-year period in his life, and it focuses on him as an activist, because he was like the first to ever do this in Hollywood. He walked the walk for civil rights, indigenous rights, and the little-known fact that he was probably the godfather of the environmentalist movement in the 60s, in the late 60s, when no one was thinking like this. And it takes place in Tahiti, on his island, where he's trying to figure out how to get power and water to this island without using fossil fuels. And it's virtually a buddy comedy with John Heder of Napoleon Dynamite, who plays the architect, trying to figure this shit out. In between, while hemorrhaging all of his money doing the research and development, he's got to go do movies like The Godfather to pay for it, which he doesn't want. He didn't want to do. He told Hollywood to piss off and wanted to go live on an island. And he kept having to go back to work to pay for his passion around these humanist subjects, and which is a really cool story, and it kind of lifts the curtain on this man. Not to say that the insurmountable task, one would assume, of playing the most famous actor in the world was a lot of pressure. But the only way to approach it, the second half of your question, was to do it as he would, which was to not give a shit. It was just to simply, it was so counterintuitive, right? Because so many actors are just, bow at the altar of Brando. And it's like, of course, he was a huge influence in my career, but to approach that role, I couldn't be other than, not that I'm a method actor. I don't think he was a method actor, frankly. He loved, the spontaneous, and he loved a beautiful accident rather than sense memory or having to think about an event to connect to emotional moment, which is what people seem to synthesize method acting into. It's a default. It's there for you if you need it. He never needed it. So the only way to rock that was to just be loose and work against every impulse to be overwhelmed by the burden and beauty of the challenge, and just, play it like jazz, because that's what he was. He was a rhythmatist. He was a trickster too, funny guy. He used to be a practical joker. But I could just slip him on like a jacket and invite him in. It was kind of like, I don't want to say channeling, but it was like, it took battling the obvious and logical, yeah, exactly. So that. Do that again? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I did. I did that. Give it everyone. And swish. Good.
Yes.
Good. That was it. You had to throw that shit out. And it was fun to do. I'm very happy with it. I think you'll like it. It's funny and informative, and a love letter to him and the people of Tahiti.
Great one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Hello, what's your name?
My name is Grace. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, Grace.
First off, love your work, love your art, and I love you. But
It's
I
a
hope
lot
you
of
don't
love,
mi-
Grace. I love you more.
I hope
on all
you don't
fronts.
mind
Thank
if
you.
I ask kind of a sillier question. A very dear friend of mine
Yes.
is experiencing something that we all go through, and that is male pattern baldness. And I was just wondering, as a beautiful bald man yourself, what was your transition like? And would you recommend it to the average male?
Recommend balding?
Like the
No.
bald- just the bald way of life. in general.
Absolutely not. I was one of the first slapheads out there. It was not a thing. Guys had the comb over, were just kind of wearing hats a lot. I was in England where there were, skinheads earlier than in the States. Certainly white men who took it shorn, who were not fascists or, punks or whatever, or convicts. But it was, and I took it down there in a number one. And when I came back, it was alarming for some folks. It was just my thing. And I lost my hair young and wore wigs in movies, and that was kind of fun. I kind of like it was like Mr. Potato Head at that point. You're like, you just kind of put different things. Like, this is cool. Who's that guy? It's kind of fun. And then there was also times where it was like horrible, like when you're too young to be like doing that. So take it down. Is the best bet. I never did the plugs or the things like, I never wanted to go there. It still never really looked good enough to, there's been some, and I have dark hair, so that does look good on me. Steve Martin played it right, which is like, go white when you're like 15, and you're just, and he had all sorts of interesting solutions through the years. Yeah, it sucked. Thanks for the question.
There you go. Okay.
Next.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Isis.
Yeah, I'm fat. What about it? Jesus. I was fat. All right, what?
Take us in a new direction, Isis, quickly.
Hi, okay, so I am a big fan of Charmed, and I love your character Drake and his romance with Phoebe. How is it going into a project, like knowing the backstory of your character who only has a few days to live, and you have to build up this romance with your co-star? How do you go into it like that?
Well, thank you for bringing up that character. I love Drake, and I love Charmed. And I have to back it up a little earlier in the timeline, which was they had come to me to play a demon, a straight demon. And I was demoned out, I was like, I don't want to play a demon. But I love the show. And I said, how about a reformed demon? And they went, a what? I was like, yeah. What if he's like reformed and, he's got, what if he was teaching musical theater at magic school? And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, it was like a little lighter. And if he had, if he's only here for a little bit, he's savoring the sensory realm and enjoying it, and we're kind of watching it. And it was like, that's so insane. We'll do it. And I was like, great. And then it was suddenly this interesting romance that came out of it, and this army. And I said, what if he, performs a song? And they're like, what? I was like, yeah. And we wrote in a song. My sister, Lisa Zane, who's a great songwriter, I directed a film that's going to come out after Brando called Interior Hallway Night. All of her original music is in the movie. She wrote that little ditty in 5 minutes that I performed in that number. I was like, what if we recreate a dance scene from American in Paris with Gene Kelly and Leslie Caron? They went, what? We'll do it. I had this, it was like a Vulcan mind meld. I was like, I just literally kept kind of corrupting it towards the light, just making it light and lovely as much as, and romantic and weird and funny, and did the Elvis thing in the opening, and they had the Robin Hood in there, but honestly a lot of that weird and wonderful was just me spitballing and trying to subvert this with a I don't know, curious love bomb in a way that, these are a few of my favorite things. So I was just dropping them in and seeing if it stuck. And for some reason, episodic television were the people who bit and let me do it. I did it on Boston Public with Kelly, and he let me. We did another song. I kept bringing musical theater, musical numbers into these series. Like, can I perform? What if there's a talent show? What? It's like, yeah. And if he's teaching Shakespeare, like, could he perform a song at a talent show? Like, that's just great. They let me record Frank Sinatra's Nice and Easy Does It at Capitol Records. And they gave me Frank's mic and Frank's stool and sang song. It was weird. There was a period where I was convinced I had like magic powers and I only used them for musical theater. And I was like, should have kept going with this. Should have shot a little higher. Although there's probably nothing higher than musical theater, so I don't know. I think it landed all right. But it was a beautiful world to step into, and the ladies were nothing but gracious and inviting, and it was Rose who I think suggested me to the cast. We were friends. She worked with my sister on Monkey Bone, and I was very grateful to her for that, because it was something that I just felt I would have loved, like a Drake spin-off series, because I thought, he could reconstitute. He's a demon or whatever. It's supernatural. It's magic. And I found him really fun. And I'm grateful that you like him, and people seem to like that character. I'm glad, for that matter. And I know you love the show, as I do.
Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Better question than an answer. My answer was all over the place. Sorry.
Hey, what's your name?
James.
What you got?
So she kind of stole my charmed question, but
Man, I'm sorry.
No worries. You really carried season 7. But one of the things I wanted to tell you is your ending there was so iconic, and you've had these moments over an amazing career that even leached into my marriage. So you gave me a free get out of jail card with my wife. So I grab one of my babies and say, I have a child, and I run away. And she can't yell at me anymore. So I wanted to thank you for that. But really when you embodied Drake, especially Drake being Count, like that love bombing, as you called it earlier, how did you go about that? Because it was just so profound that you really, in my opinion, carried season 7 in that arc. That's what I remember. Couldn't tell me anything else about that season but your portion of it.
Thank you, man. The best part about doing cons is hearing your stories, honestly. It's all about the other side of the table. This is where I proposed to my wife. This is the movie my dad showed me. This is that is just the thing, and I love that story. I attribute any success I've had in this crazy long career to being of service. And the most powerful force I've found is love under will. And it could be opaque. It's the mystery. I embrace the mystery. I don't like absolutes. But if you're holding like compass and you're aligning with, I believe I willed the Phantom. I was familiar with the character. I understood the tenets and the pillars he stood on. I was like, I got it. And there was no other question I was not going to do that movie, because you connect with, if you can rally behind those important, and this is the most important thing to impart with your kids, and why my father did to me, and it carries on and it works. It just works. It may sound corny, and some people need, it works, and I don't know. I don't know if it's a part of a spiritual life, but it's something about the arts as a carrier wave for whatever your belief system is. If it aligns with the golden rule, and your intention is to expand and give and provide a wider vector for others, you'll find grace along the way. You'll attract the people and the things you need to execute. The things you do not need nor want in your life will bounce off a force field, 30 feet ahead of you don't even know about. And I'm convinced of this. I feel protected by it, and I feel charmed by it. You know what I mean? So try that if you haven't already. I mean, we're all here. We're doing something right?
All right, one for you, one for your wife. There you go. All right, thank you. Hi, what's your name?
It's Jesus. First, fuck this cowboy shit.
Jesus.
Whether it was
Jesus.
It's got an accent. First, whether it was something tragic or just a maelstrom of like hours of practice or your talent, what helped you channel a lot of your sinister characters, more specifically your role in Demon Knight, as it helped me mold me when I was like 9 years old.
Okay.
Well, I could pull from the same answer. no matter what the task is, the absolute joy of that was whimsy, right? The character wasn't written as funny, and I was so grateful for the director Ernest Dickerson, who gave me the space to play. And I like comedy with my horror. I think you need the catch release. You need the antidote and a false sense of security, and then you rush for you go for the jugular. The love of the counterpoint. So at that time, when we made it, Disney's Aladdin just came out in theaters, I think. And I remember Robin Williams' Genie. And I learned that animators animate to actors. Actors don't voice cartoons. They're drawn, you do the performance and then you're drawn. I thought that was interesting because his improv was evident. It was obvious there were things not in the script he was bouncing off of and pulling stuff, and then they were conjuring, but he was able to conjure because the genie has powers. And I thought, oh, the demon has powers. I said, I'm going to play the genie from hell. Because and that rate that he did it, I'll pull this out, I'll pull that out, how about that? But I think it was just entertaining. And that was a big inspiration. So I brought this kind of whimsy to the character, which was in a horror dynamic even more weirdly entertaining, because once it brought you down the path of joy and silliness, he'd do a 180, and you just go whoa, so you're taken all over the place, which was, I thought, entertaining. They did too, and they just let me go, and it was such a pleasure to play that guy. Am I losing my line? Is everyone sitting down? Why?
We're just about at time. So
Damn it. All right. Shorter answers. I want to answer everyone's goddamn question in 3
everybody
words.
Come back in line. Come back
in line. Get back out there. I'm going to be quick.
Come here in the center.
Come on, bring it in.
Thank you. Bring it in.
Watch this. We're going to speed the cool. I faked it. Good.
Okay.
Go.
Hi. Okay, no names, just question. What's your question?
Many fans online agree that yours was the best pairing on Charmed for Alyssa Milano's character. Was there ever an offer or consideration for you to stay longer?
No.
What's your question?
How did you enjoy being down in Wilmington during First of the World and then the fireworks?
I loved it there. There was great B&Bs, and a storm didn't hit us, thank God.
Did you run into Hopper?
What?
Did you run into Dennis Hopper when you were there?
Did not.
Hey, what you got?
How did you come about your cameo in Zoolander?
Ben Stiller at a fashion show.
What you got?
James Roday Rodriguez had been mentioning you so many times on the show Psych, and you finally showed up for the final regular episode. How did that come about?
Scheduling.
Next.
I just have a quick question. What's it like to be a sore loser? You lost your girl and all your money.
Next question.
What you got?
With the release of Waltzing with Brando, which I'm really looking forward to, I read that it was like a dream role for you. Is there any other dream roles maybe in the future?
No, but in the past, Zorro. God damn it.
Oh. Come here. What you got?
Loved you in Sniper. Is there any plans for a prequel of Phantom? How the family started?
No, but a follow-up. Hold on, mister. Get back here. But it's a father-son business, right? 25 years later, guess who's got a son? Okay, sit down.
What you got?
Audrey Horne, nice to meet you, Jack Wheeler, once again.
Oh my God, it's you.
Any great memory with David Lynch?
No, but with Sherilyn Fenn. Next question. Yeah, David Lynch was awesome. Are you kidding me? It was a great honor to be. Only he would cast the crazy guy in a boat to be the straightest dude, a sane person in that show. Thank you, David, for letting me finally do some, I don't know, be that white hat hero guy when I was, everyone wanted the same crazy person.
What you got?
Thank you.
You can delete a country. Which one is it? Just an.
Show your face, you coward. Where are you from?
Here.
All right, I don't know. Come on, Stratego. Sit down. What the hell? What kind of question is that?
What you got?
I was just going to give a shout out to Sniper. Someone else already asked it, but I love that movie. I saw the shit out of that when I was
Thank you, man. It's one of my, I love that character too. I think there's room for a Miller spinoff, frankly. Ready to do more.
I got a question.
Yes.
Do you want to show the audience the trailer for Brando?
Do you have it?
We have it.
No. Yes, of course.
Now, if you want to step on down, we can watch it with the screen over
I was
there.
going to do puppets. But okay, fine.